Story 1. People are generally kinder to you. It doesn't necessarily mean they are specifically attracted to you, but being conventionally attractive means people are generally kinder to you. Story 2. Honestly, it is the little things you tend to notice over time. The little glances, the smiles, the laughs, or affectionate touches. I do not know, life is kind of crazy in prison sometimes, but it is pretty flattering. Story 3. I assume by the disgusted and confused looks on people's faces when I say hello to them that I am so unbelievably attractive I am short-circuiting their brains. This would also explain them running from me or dousing me with a fire extinguisher. Not to brag, but a modeling agency asked me to pose for a before picture. Don't hate. Story 4. Seeing all these comments of people will tell you makes me realize that outside of my current girlfriend and family, I don't think I've ever heard that from someone. Story 5. People tell you. And when they are strangers, for example, someone walking past you on the street, and the same sex, and it happens fairly often, you start to think it must be true. I think I am pretty, but not as pretty as other people think I am. I also make sure to tell other women that I think they are pretty or that I like their outfit, hair, and so on. I know I like the way the confidence boost feels, so I try to share it with others. Story 6. I know I'm attractive because everyone shutters their windows and rushes their children indoors when I saunter into town, probably because of how ugly they feel in comparison. Story 7. When I'm kind, people automatically assume I'm flirting with them, and I'm just medium attractive. Can't imagine what it's like for you natural beauties. Haha. Story 8. I'm an unattractive person, but in France, I had this very good male friend who was just ridiculously good-looking. Walking along, I'd feel invisible beside him, as women would smile at him. Some even came up to him and gave him their phone number. Life is so unfair. Story 9. When I was young and prettier, I always thought the greatest compliments came from a random gay man. It made me feel so beautiful because they really think you're beautiful if they tell you. They don't want anything. Story 10. People tell you, kids, teens, adults, that, or they'll just stare. I will say a kid calling you pretty is the best because they are normally very honest about such things. So if you're ever unsure, ask a group of kids. Story 11. I am not pretty. Neither is my husband. We were and still are ugly ducks, so this is very bizarre for us. Our young daughter is, and it freaks me out. Ever since her infancy, she has had a natural charisma and magnetism, as well as astonishingly beautiful features and thick golden hair. People will not leave her alone. My spouse and I constantly have to deflect unwanted and persistent attention from both grown men and women. People are constantly trying to touch her as she walks by, corner her to touch her or talk to her, trying to pick her up, get her attention, and constantly going out of their way to give her free things or dote on her. We used to keep a mental tally of how many times somebody stopped to gawk at her, comment, or try to make contact. We are exceptionally overprotective, and now that she is able to voice her own opinions, we are very firm with her that she controls who is and is not allowed to touch her. She does not have to give hugs or high fives. She does not have to talk to people or accept gifts. She is very strong-natured, so she has that backbone built in to say no. We hope that as she grows, she will be people-savvy and street-smart, and it will protect her from the advances of the world. Story 12. When babies can't seem to take their eyes off you, even when their parents are talking to them, they just keep looking your way, like you're the most interesting thing in the room. It's funny because I've never seen myself as the standard of beauty. Story 13. Casually walking around, men are looking at me and someone talks to me randomly at least once a week, like wanting social media or to drink coffee together. Story 14. Because I hit the weights and look good in a t-shirt, I don't shy away from my principles and treat people respectfully. I find that attractive, therefore I am. Story 15. Depends on where I am, honestly. In Northern Europe, I'm pretty average. If I go to the South, I get girls from all sides flirting with me just because I'm blonde, and that's considered exotic there, the same for Asia or any other place where a Nordic type looks exotic. I'm also quite tall and muscular. That helps. Story 16. I am not conventionally beautiful, but my best friend is gorgeous. Usually, wherever we are, men and women hit on her and are extremely nice to her. But when you have an attractive personality and you are not ugly like my girlfriend, usually at the start no one really cares, but as soon as you start talking, everyone is charmed, especially other women, and they ask you a ton of questions just to hear you talk. Let's be honest. Looks matter, so a great personality needs to be paired with at least an average face and body. Story 17. Well, my wife is very beautiful and all my exes are also very good looking. Also, gay men tend to compliment my looks. I still don't understand what the appeal is. Took me forever to realize. Story 18. People tell you in subtle ways. They won't say, for the most part, you're cute, handsome, attractive, hot, etc. They say things like, I like your clothes/style, I like your hair, you have nice teeth, you have nice hair, or nice skin, etc. Because let's be honest, a 5 foot 4 inches, 300-pound person with an acne face and greasy hair isn't getting any compliments about their nice teeth, even if their teeth are perfect, just because of everything else. Story 19. People are pretty honest. I don't really get rejected when I ask people out. I get compliments on my appearance from all people pretty regularly, especially women, so I feel that's a pretty good indicator. However, I try to stay humble about it as best as I can. I know the only reason I'm attractive is the effort I put into myself. I have been much less attractive in the past, and the only reason that changed is because I decided I wanted it to. Story 20. I get hit on every time I go to a bar. Guys whistle and talk to me when I walk down the street. I have been serenaded by a complete stranger once. That was an experience. I grew up looking odd, so it took me a couple of years to realize that I was, in fact, getting prettier. That didn't happen by strangers on the street. Good friends had to tell me, no nonsense, you're really pretty. But once that confidence was there, the compliments skyrocketed. It really is more about owning your beauty than anything else. Story 21. Women tell me with a fair bit of regularity. I read a lot on Reddit and hear a ton about men never getting compliments. I usually get a compliment on my appearance from women once a week or so. Some of those are just straight up telling me I'm attractive. Won't hear me complaining. Story 22. People tell you. People make eye contact with you a lot. People are really nice to you. Every boy I grew up with had a crush on me and I never had issues dating. I also share a name with a very attractive celebrity, and people tell me all the time I'm prettier than her. In my opinion, it's because they don't like her plastic surgery. Story 23. A few years ago, I was always told by random girls and friends that I looked good. I was also confident and fit back then, and the girls liked that. Then I became depressed, and because of my medication, I gained a little weight. Since then, nobody has told me that anymore, and for 2 years, no girl has been interested in me. People let you know when you're attractive, and if you know that, you become more confident, which makes you even more attractive. Story 24. As a straight man, I never found online dating to be very difficult or frustrating, and I only ever swiped right on women I found to be genuinely attractive. I don't have much money, and I'm not over 6 feet tall, so it can't be that. My self-image is not great, though. If you ask me to describe myself, I'd say I look like a bad sketch artist's rendering of Andy Samberg. Story 25. Not me, but my daughter. She was told she was attractive, but she was constantly getting attention from the time she was about 11 years old. Believe me, raising a pretty child is challenging. Very. And trying to keep her safe. She is now 43 years old and still attractive. But thankfully things have calmed down. Also, if you are attractive, people always remember who you are if only meeting you once. Story 26. I don't necessarily think I am, but I guess there have been indicators that I might be. People independently tell you that you're attractive. Like people who don't know each other say that you're cute, and sometimes even give you the exact same specific compliment. Again, people of different ages, backgrounds, etc. who don't know each other. Strangely enough, I've had multiple separate people call me Travis Scott. They meant it as a compliment, I promise. I look nothing like Travis Scott. It would have been more flattering if they compared me to ASAP Rocky. You get treated differently when in a group. From people being nicer to you to being less suspicious, or even people outright protecting you without even knowing you. Out of the many experiences, the one I found most unfair but also kind of funny is once when my friends and I were sitting near a friend's house at night, in the dark. Apparently, someone complained that there were people who regularly smoked weed right where we were. It wasn't us, though we did sit there regularly too. About 8 police officers showed up out of nowhere. I swear it was like something out of a movie. One minute we were talking and laughing, the next we were surrounded by them. They told us about the complaints and then searched us. My friends got searched pretty thoroughly, but when it was my turn, they just asked me what I had in my pockets. I showed them my phone and a key. They just lightly patted my front pockets. Didn't even bother with the back ones where I took my key from. Plus, they were really nice to me, whereas my friends were treated with a little hostility. But I think this also has to do with me being slightly younger than my friends and having an innocent face. Girls flirt with you and ask for your number spontaneously. Though I haven't had this one happen in a while, so maybe I'm getting ugly, lol. People, again, especially girls, are nice to you and try to stir up a conversation with you when there is no reason to. Story 27. If I am not explicitly told by someone, regardless of gender or sexual preference, that they find me attractive, I usually observe how they look at me and how they treat or act around me. When you are attractive, people can be nicer, kinder, more tolerant towards you, and seem to go out of their way to show they share even a passing interest in you. There is a difference between them just being nice or friendly and them being that way because of your looks. The kindness usually comes from a place of them wanting something out of the exchange, even if it's as small as offering a compliment or just trying to make a good impression on you, no matter how short the interaction is. Story 28. I am a woman, and throughout my life, women, strangers on the street as well as ones I know, compliment me often on how pretty I am. I have never thought of myself as conventionally attractive. I have never gotten nearly the same amount of attention from men. Not sure what to make of it, but regardless, the compliments from women always stick, and I try to return the favor to others. Story 29. I once dated a stunning woman, one of the most beautiful I have ever seen. Men would constantly stare at her and try to talk to her whenever I was not around. Whenever we were out together, women would stop her and literally tell her she was gorgeous, often giving me a look as if I was a new David Cronenberg prototype. I consider myself to have average to above average looks, but the contrast between us was confusing to outside observers. As a man, I've only received a handful of compliments that stuck with me. I know I'm not extremely attractive because I have a friend who is, and people regularly begin unprompted conversations about his looks. It's crazy how prevalent lookism is in most contexts. Aesthetics often trump logic, rationality, and even morality at times. We need to be aware of this, men and women alike. For those who feel down about the current dating scene, I do too. I think of the moments when I was with extremely attractive women despite my looks. If I can, you can. I'll also add that personality and self-confidence, emphasizing self, as in knowing precisely what your values and principles are and what you want, go miles beyond looks. Looks are the icing on the cake, velvety and enticing. They demand your full attention. But your personality, including interests and perception of yourself and the world, are the layers of the cake, what everyone will spend the most time enjoying. Story 30. Male here, 32 years old. Been working as a bartender for 6 months. Most weekends, women anywhere from around 24 up to 45 years old make it clear they are interested. Hookups are easy. I had no idea my other male coworkers had never really been approached. I just thought it was the perks of being a bartender. Story 31. I was jogging when this beautiful woman, who was walking towards me, looked me straight in the eyes. She gave me a broad, honest smile while turning her head in my direction when I passed her. Made my day. Story 32. Compliments on my appearance by strangers, people doing a double take, but not in a what the heck way. You can definitely tell when that reaction is there, but there are a lot of darker versions. Being followed off trains multiple times by men I don't know and immediately feel worried for my safety. Non-stop flirting even when I make it clear I'm in a relationship and am not interested. And eyes that follow you around a place and keep returning to you in a bit of an unsettling way, like when you're at the gym or doing a food shop, etc. It's not always a good thing. And as someone who likes having their personal space and keeping away from drama and hassle, it makes it difficult. Story 33. This may come off as extremely arrogant, but I've been told many times by different people of various ages, genders, and situations, such as work, school, and romantic relationships. But maybe they're all collectively lying. B. I've been chosen an unfair number of times for job positions, advancements, and group selections. C. People try to befriend me for no specific reason. D. People assume I will take leadership in group dynamics without any logical reason, even in situations where they don't know me. Every day, when I'm not alone, I notice several women staring at me. F. Multiple women throughout my life have been willing to switch their current partners, even without me showing enough interest to justify such actions. Of course, I have never exploited this because of my moral standards and the evidence this behavior reveals about them. G. I've been asked to model multiple times, but I haven't had the interest. I much prefer people who are normal to below standard in appearance, both in general and as friends. In my experience, they tend to be more authentic and less entitled in their behavior and personalities.